Valheim, it's coming to an end, I hate to say. This may be bittersweet news to most, but Iron Gate did reveal late last year that their upcoming biome, the Deep North, is going to be their last and will signal the end of the early access period for Valheim, which started way back in 2021. What a ride it's been. With this announcement, the dev team began teasing details with screenshots and a series of teaser videos following the adventures of the brave Viking Hervor Bloodtooth, destined for the far north of the world of Valheim. Beyond its 1.0 release, the team have also promised a smaller update to hold us over, perhaps at a magnitude like Hearth and Home, that's anticipated to bring new content to existing biomes. Stick with me while we unpack everything teased in the pre-1.0 update, also dive into everything coming in the Deep North in 1.0 release, and explain my theory for the game's end, which just might surprise you. In the most recent blog post, the team revealed a smaller update is in development, focused on combat mechanics, which will be a sight for sore eyes to many. Specifically mentioned was a fix to slope combat teased in a screenshot shared over on X by Luma, one of the Valheim devs. This is welcome news for spear enjoyers like myself, and my hope is this may ease the pain felt by players, especially in the Mistlands where slopes are a way of life. But that's not all. Also anticipated in this patch will be a new armor set and what appears to be paired with a desperately needed new fists weapon to help elevate this forgotten weapon class. Many people have speculated this armor set will be added to the Ashlands biome, giving the skull on the Viking's shoulder resembling that of a Valkyrie or maybe a vulture. I personally can't see it though, given the biome already has 3 armor sets. My best guess is that this will be in addition to the plains, possibly alluded to by the presence of the grasslands in the background of the teaser image. The plains, unlike other biomes, has only a single armor set and desperately could use a light variant alternative to the padded. That said, it's difficult to answer the question of the skull and bone composition of the gear. This leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe, this opens the door for a new plains creature that will be hunted for its bones. Or perhaps the bone remnants found at the edge of tar pits will be transformed into a new resource, mineable for the armor set. Just a guess. Beyond that, we know very little of what will be included in this update aside from its focus on combat. I'm still holding out hope for a new update to the Oceans biome. I'd love to see a new Kraken boss being added, or, like Kevin suggested in our community, maybe a Leviathan riding vendor. Come on, Iron Gate, let's make it happen. As to when you can expect this update, my guess is this one will drop in the fall of 2025, following the Valheim dev team's annual and well-deserved extended summer break. For Valheim's big final release, however, loads has been teased, including features and content expected to be added in the final biome. But how will it work? Fortunately, I've got a theory. As you are aware at this point, progression in this game follows a mostly linear path. In the meadows, you gather resources, hunt boar, deer, craft weapons, armor, and ultimately defeat the deer boss Eikthyr for his antler. This antler is then used to form the pickaxe, key to your progression in the subsequent biome, the Black Forest. This pattern continues up to the Mistlands, which is where I think things will change with the game's 1.0 release. As you well know, the Majestic Carapace grants you the recipe for the Artisan Press, an artisan table upgrade, enabling the crafting of ceramic plate, the key ingredient in the mighty Drakkar ship. Like biomes before it, the conquering of its boss enables access to the subsequent biome, as of now, the Ashlands. This is where I think things will change. You see, for the most part, the game becomes more difficult the further you stray from the world's center. For instance, the Mistlands only generates after a specific radius from the central sacrificial stones. But with the poles being at opposite extremes of the map, each the same distance from the center, I expect equal difficulty in a severing of the game's linear progression. This is supported too by the dev's own comments, suggesting that while the Deep North will be a difficult biome, it won't be a significant increase above the Ashlands. As a result, I think that once players complete the Mistlands, you will have a choice of which biome to conquer first, Deep North or the Ashlands. Like how the Drakkar provides resistance to the burning temperatures to the south, I think it will equally provide resistance to the freezing temperatures to the north, or act as an icebreaker to clear a path. Admittedly, there's evidence that both supports this theory, but also contradicts it. Starting with support for one, prior to the Ashlands update, both the north and south poles were connected to the rest of the world by land. With this patch, terrain generation was modified to facilitate the requirement of sailing by the Drakkar to the southern pole. But guess what? Sneakily, the same change was made to the north as well. A little sus, don't you think? Second, like previously stated, difficulty in the game is typically governed by distance from the world's center. With both biomes being equidistant from the middle, it would make sense they would have similar difficulty. Third, and what might be my biggest stretch of the three, is that I do not believe the Deep North boss will be the game's final. Rather, I believe that once the Deep North boss is slain and its head is hung on its sacrificial stone with the other Forsaken, the real final boss will be revealed for one last epic encounter. But who could it be? Loki? Or maybe Odin himself has manipulated us into slaying the Forsaken for him, and he is our true enemy. Of course, there is plenty of evidence that conflicts with my theory, with what is written on this Black Forest runestone packing the biggest punch. It states 7 were the creatures banished to the world by mighty Odin in the first days of his kingship. 7 gods and monsters too proud to bear his yoke. Which, if you've beaten fodder from the Ashlands biome, you're probably scratching your head. 7? I've already beaten 7. What gives? Maybe this is just old text that will be updated before the final release, or maybe we have already vanquished each of the Forsaken and the Deep North does in fact contain the final boss. Only time will tell. Second is what is teased in the Chronicles of Hervor Bloodtooth, where the hero is portrayed arriving in the Deep North on a standard Viking ship, not the Drakkar. Based on this, my entire Drakkar theory could be thrown out the window, or maybe it's just a detail not considered by the dev team in their production of the teaser trailers. Lastly, of course, is from the devs' voices themselves, where they do refer to the Deep North as the final biome. You could interpret this as simply the last one developed, or it is in fact intended to be the last biome in progression. So what do you think of my theory? Did I convince you? Do you still think the Deep North is going to be the final biome? Or will players have the choice between the Deep North and the Ashlands after clearing the Mistlands? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, the question remains, what can we look forward to with its 1.0 release and departure from early access? As mentioned, we will be getting a brand new biome in the Deep North, but also tons of new game features, and likely some augmentation to preceding biomes as final touches for the complete game version. For starters, there will be an obvious end to the story, rolled credits, and satisfying conclusion to your Vikings adventure in the underworld, likely capitalized with a battle with some unknown villain. Not only that, but both Steam and Xbox achievements will be delivered in the patch, giving players more carrots to chase in the pursuit of 100%ing the game. Another hope of mine, and let's be clear, this is pure speculation, I'm not reporting anything here. I think it would make a whole lot of sense for Valheim to premiere on the PlayStation platform for Valheim's 1.0 release. What do you think? We can hope at least, right? Modders too can also rejoice as mod support will be integrated with Valheim to hopefully make it easier for those to tweak the game to their liking and prevent the breaking of mods as future updates are rolled out. As for the content of the Deep North, the teased videos share what appear to be a mostly flat but dense environment, complete with coniferous trees and heavy snow. Unsurprisingly, you won't be safe from the environment either, with Hervor coming face to face with what appears to be a frozen Greydwarf who wandered too far north. Yet this begs the question, was he frozen by the environment? A snowstorm perhaps? Or could this be the result of an attack of an inhabitant of the snow? First impressions is that it will vary significantly from the existing mountains biome, free from steep climbs and jagged slopes. While the devs have said the biome will be difficult, don't expect an onslaught of creatures like the Ashlands. In fact, their hope is that the biome will be calmer with places to rest and the occasional view, perhaps fitting of a Christmas card. Calm, yes, but still challenging with the expectation of larger but less frequent creatures, including a promise of a creature larger than any we have encountered on our journey thus far. Further, the use of Jotunbane in this clip seems suspicious to me, as I believe it hints at the ancient Jotun giants, which I fully expect to appear in the Deep North. Speaking of weapons too, Grimcore said in an interview shortly after the release of the Ashlands that he hopes they can deliver a new weapon for every existing class in the update. While this was a comment in passing, I would bet that we have a really good opportunity for all playstyles to be addressed in the final update. Other creatures have been teased as well, first with seals in both screenshots and video, appearing with 3 variants that I can only guess represent the single and 2-star versions. No word yet on what their drops will be used for. The other being the Ela King, which was shown stalking and ultimately leaping after our hero, like we have seen from Fenring After Dark in the mountains. Builders too can rejoice as a full suite of new build pieces will be provided, like shown here in abandoned structures, which will no doubt be scattered across the biome. So the obvious question, right? Deep North when? Unfortunately, we still don't know. I'd venture a guess that even the Iron Gate team themselves remain uncertain of the release date. But if I were to speculate based on the anticipated magnitude of the update and the timeline of previous updates, I wouldn't expect to see 1.0 until the spring of 2026. So long in fact that many people think Valheim is dead, but don't worry, I debunked that myth in this video right here.